Links to previous episodes are given in the video description, so don't forget to like, subscribe and share the video. The Alpha's Orphan Daughter. Episode 5. Chapter 37. Kara's POV. I did it. I stopped it. I don't know exactly how I did it. The arrow hurtled towards us, and I knew I was the only one who could stop it. It shattered against the shield I put up and was now lying at our feet in 100 pieces. My mother had thrown it hard. She meant business, but I managed to protect us both. I think my mother was happier than I was about it. She was cheering and running for us, just like Lena was. Robert was standing up and staring in shock at the now ruined arrow. I had never seen anything like that before, so I am sure they hadn't either. I was just glad that I managed to protect us. What did you feel? My mother asked me. I felt like my sister was going to be hurt if I didn't protect us, I told her truthfully. Do you remember where you pulled it from? She asked. Yes, it was a core reaction. I just did it instead of thinking about it. It came to me once you threw it. I knew that one of us would be in the hospital if I didn't put a barrier up, I replied. Excellent job. We will increase the danger now, as you only put up a shield. This time, you need to provide a complete shield. I will be stepping up the threat all the way around you. Brenna, you can go with your sister again, but this time go further away. If Karam manages to put up a dome, some of the items I will throw at her may bounce off of it. I don't want any of you getting hurt as I test how well Kara has learned to block an attack, my mother told them. After the ice arrow, I am sure they are worried about what else I could be up against. They went to the far ends of the dome and watched as my mother rose up about 10 feet into the air. I was also surprised, as I didn't anticipate having to shield against a moving target. My surprise only increased as she used an arsenal against me. I had to put up a bigger shield up around me, as putting one up in front wouldn't work this time. She moved all around, throwing fireballs, tree limbs, large stones, and more ice arrows. You never knew what was coming next as she continued to attack me. She started using wind to try to knock me down in the midst of it. I finally got angry and put up a complete dome all the way around me. This was my first training, but she wasn't holding anything back. I was shielded from her onslaught as she continued to attack, throwing everything she had at me to see if she could get through the dome. Once she realized that I was protected from everything she had thrown at me, she grinned and then turned and headed toward Brenna and Lena. I saw the fear they had the second my mother looked at them. I was worried, too. I didn't want my sisters to be hurt either. My first thought was protecting them. The next thing I knew, I stood before them both, putting up a dome around all three of us. My mother threw everything she could, but nothing got past my defenses. My mother was thrilled by my response to her attack, if her expression was anything to go by. I was just glad that I had managed to protect my sisters. My sisters and Robert were all amazed to see what I had done in such a short amount of time. I still didn't know how I managed to move across the room. I just did it. I thought about it and was suddenly standing there in front of them. My knee response to protecting my sisters was getting to them as fast as possible. I only had to put up the shield for us. It was much quicker than my first attempts at it. Mom was right. It was beneficial to have my sisters here while I trained. I felt the need to protect them. They were always my priority. I was just glad that I could finally be able to protect them as they had protected me. You did very well, Kara. Very well indeed, my mother told me with pride in her voice. Did I? I asked, still unsure of what I had done to receive her praise. Yes, I only learned to teleport in my third training. You let your instincts take over and did it within your first hour of training. I knew having your sisters here would help you push forward to learn quickly. I am very proud of you. I always knew you were meant for great things, my mother told me. Don't be too quick to be proud. I still honestly don't know exactly how I did it. I just knew I needed to get to them to protect them, I replied. Like I said, your instincts took over. This is wonderful, my darling. You have no idea how powerful you truly are. I am glad we are inside this pack, as your training will attract less attention. We need a little time to hone your powers. Your instincts are spot on. Now we still have another hour to train. I don't want to wear you out the first day, but is there something you want to learn? My mother asked. I want to learn how to read minds, I automatically stated. I knew that was one thing that I knew I wanted to learn. I didn't want to get pulled in by my emotions like my mother had. Especially if my partner is not motivated by love. I learned the hard way from my own father that some love is fickle. Despite me loving him more than anyone else, he never actually loved me back. I don't want to learn that hard lesson again. I want to know others' intentions toward me. I have been gullible for far too long. From now on, I will protect my heart. My father stopped loving me when he learned I was a witch. The fact that he held on to the letter from my mother showed me exactly who he was. He was angry that my mother had been right. I was a witch. He decided to hurt both of us by keeping the letter from me. He knew it was spelled. The envelope had shown signs of tampering before I opened it. He would rather me be picked on and abused for the rest of my life than allow me to live with my mother. Everything I thought I knew about him was a lie. He never really loved me, not like I wanted him to. Not like I had thought he had. His love was contingent on what he wanted me to be. When I wasn't, he no longer cared about me anymore. It brought the pain back in full force. Brenna and Lena never understood how hurtful it had been for Dad to turn his back on me. They were what he always wanted me to be, a strong she-wolf. That would prove to everyone what a strong beta he was to the pack if I had been. My failure to be what he wanted was his greatest shame. I am honestly surprised that he didn't just try to make me disappear. I am sure that was only because my sisters would have called him on it. They would have never let him rest if he had gotten rid of me. He was basically forced to keep me. Which was why he allowed anyone and everyone to bully me with no penalty or punishment for it. Kara, reading minds is one of the hardest things that we can do. Especially if you don't want them to know that you are doing it. I didn't know how to do it when your father found me. So I understand why you want to learn. I will teach you how, but that is a tool you will learn later on in your training. Right now, you need to learn how to protect yourself. That means defense and offense are what you need to learn. I can feel your disappointment, Kara. I didn't say that I wouldn't teach you. I want you to focus on protecting yourself. Paxton will be coming back for you. I want you to be ready and able to protect yourself from him successfully, my mother told me. I understand. You are right. I can see the logic in that. Okay then, I would like to learn how to throw a fireball or form an ice arrow then, I replied. I have plenty of time before I need to learn to read minds. Plus, it might be something I can learn at home when it is just us two. My mother is right. Paxton will never give up. He thinks that he can force me to bend to his will. It would be best for me to learn to protect myself. I am determined to learn as best as I can from my mother. She is doing me a great favor here, as she had to learn much of this on her own. Okay, guys, you can take your seats again. We are moving on to another lesson. I also want to work with you on teleporting again. It is a valuable skill to have, but we can start that tomorrow. If Paxton successfully takes you or one of your sisters, you will need that skill to get back to safety, my mother replied. I fought back the urge to hug her. She is so worried about my safety. She loves me so much. I wanted to make her proud, so I listened intently to her instructions. I love her too, but I will wait until later to tell her. I need to think about what I want to create. I was worried about the fire burning me, but my small fireballs formed about 2 inches above my hand. I felt the heat, but it didn't burn me at all. The ice arrow, though, was another matter. Mine were still small compared to what my mother had thrown at me. Not even a foot long, but they did have a point, and they could still do damage. My mother explained to me how to use my power to send them flying. She taught me to conserve my energy as I was doing this, as in a battle, I could not allow myself to become exhausted. Using a small portion of my energy, I threw about 50 projectiles at the target she created for me. She was happy with my progress. I knew she could tell that I wanted to learn more, but I have to admit, I was tired. When she took the dome down, I was surprised to see that it was getting dark outside. It had not been dark inside the dome she had made. You learned a lot today, Kara. We have been at this for almost 4 hours. It was a long first day, but I am proud of your progress. We will come out again tomorrow and do it again, she told me. I was not quite as proud as her, but I felt I had learned a lot. I want to learn as much as I can, as quickly as I can. My mother was right. It would be just a matter of time before Paxton came back. Paxton's POV. We had spent a lot of time last night in the Pack hospital. I had mind-linked some of our men to come and get us as we were injured, but they kept asking how we ended up hurt. It seemed unthinkable that we had been injured right outside of our own pack. It was humiliating to me. I would rather die than tell the pack that the witch we all thought was dead was back. There would be a mass exodus from the pack if they found out that she was intent on paying us back for the torment we put her daughter through. I was going to mention it to my father, though, as he had spoken with James about it the most. No one else needed to know about it for now. We would keep it with the ranked wolves and my father. I am sure that we could figure a way out of this between the 4 of us. I slept in, as I was exhausted. I didn't get back to my room until after 1 this morning. My arm was in a temporary cast to allow my wolf to heal the break in my arm. I had a cut on my forehead, and I could see that it was healing properly. The only plus was the fact that Lisa was still not back from her shopping trip yet. I honestly didn't care if she never returned. She was of no benefit to the pack. She was a drain on it. I will take all of her credit cards when she returns. I hoped she had a fun time on her shopping trip because she wouldn't be going on another one for at least a year. The thought of her reaction when I took her cards away made me smile. I knew she had the credit card numbers saved to her phone, as she liked to shop daily, but enough was enough. I was going to cancel each of them, and she would have to work to get one back. I went down to my office and called to have breakfast sent up for me. I guess I should be grateful that it was my left arm that got broken, but I am not. That witch went way too far last night. I needed to find a way to cancel her out and ensure she never returned. I may have to reach out to find a dark witch, but I did not want to do that. The cost they wanted for their services was too high. Wait, I could get rid of 2 birds with 1 stone. I can offer whatever the dark witch wants, with Lisa paying the price for it. I would not allow a dark witch to have any power over me, or my pack. I smirked as my plan started to form. This will work out perfectly for me. A knock sounded on my door, and I called out for them to enter. I was sure it was my breakfast, but Rex and Clay entered my office instead. Clay was the most injured of us all, and I suspected that was deliberate on Zair's part. I motioned for them to sit down, as I needed to get the truth from him. There was a reason she was so angry at him, and I am sure she punished him so much after reading his thoughts. I need to know, as I put him in the greatest position of trust that I had. I have to know if that was warranted or if he played me. Clay, is there something that you want to tell me? I asked him. I see him nervously adjust in his seat, but he doesn't open his mouth. Clay, let me rephrase my question. Either you tell me the truth of what happened in your house the day the girls ran away, or I will ask the witch or the vampire the next time I see them, I told him coldly. I know that he lied to me, but how much of it was a lie? What had he tried to do to Kara? Okay, look, don't get mad, Paxton. I found Kara in my home. She had something in her duffel bag, and I didn't know what it was. I looked around the room, and I didn't see anything disturbed. But I needed to know what she was hiding in her bag. I know you liked her, but she is a hot little number. I only wanted to kiss her, but she kept trying to run away from me. It annoyed me off. I gave chase, but I accidentally grabbed her with my claws. But I only did that to stop her. I wanted to know what she had taken from me. That was it. The next thing I knew, I was knocked out, and then you guys were there, Clay replied. I felt pain in my leg. I looked down to realize my right hand was in a claw, and it was digging into my thigh. So you lied to me, Clay. I am your alleged best friend. Only a kiss? I know you, Clay. We have been friends since we were young. It was not just going to be a kiss. Were you going to force yourself on Kara? I asked as I stood up from my chair. My wolf, Mace, was even angrier at him about it. How dare he try to sleep with Kara before we could? I was going to start with a kiss and see where it went, Clay replied in a low tone. Kara is mine, Clay. You knew that. Yet you were thinking about taking her against her will. You had already chosen Lena as your chosen mate. Why would you do this? I bet that Kara was fighting you, wasn't she? Trying to get away from you when you did that to her? How can I trust you now, Clay? You are supposed to be my right hand. The one I trusted the most, yet you did this to me. Get out of my office, both of you. I need to think, I yelled at them. I was losing my temper and wanted to lash out and hurt Clay. He knew how much I wanted Kara. The fact that he was willing to do that to her was upsetting. No wonder she ran. This is all his fault, as they were not upset enough to leave the pack before that happened. I am struggling to control my anger at the moment. Goddess, what was he thinking? He knew the plan. We were going to approach them all at the same time. Separate them so we can control them more easily. We had a plan, but he let his lust get in the way. What am I going to do now? I know in my heart that I can't have Kara here, not with him around. He just showed me that I can't trust him. I won't promote Rex. He is not strong enough to be the beta. I need to start looking for a new one now because I just won't put up with that kind of deception. He had several opportunities to admit what he did, yet he kept lying. Even after that vampire attacked him, he kept lying. I don't know how I was fooled all this time. Does he think he can disrespect me like this and still keep his position here? No, this choice was easy for me to make. I only wanted Kara to hell with Clay. I have other friends that I can put in his position. He can go right back to his old pack. I stopped myself from throwing my laptop across the room. I need to train, but I can't do it now because my arm is broken. I have to find a way to work out my frustrations before I end up really hurting someone. The knock at my door had me snapping out a response, "What?" The door opened, and one of the Omegas entered with my breakfast. I had slept with her before, and from the smile on her face, she would not mind another round or two with me. "Lock the door," I told her and motioned for her to put the tray down on one of the chairs in front of my desk. I didn't have to ask. She was already coming around my desk to slide my work and laptop to the side like a good girl. I slid my pants down and gave her a check to see if she was wet before sliding into her. She gasped in surprise as I entered her like that, but she quickly spread her legs further apart for me to get better access to her. I drove into her over and over again until I felt the familiar feeling in my balls and pulled out of her. No one here was worthy of carrying my pups except Kara. I handed her a rag to clean herself off with. That helped me to calm down. I can think straight again and am ready to make plans to get Kara back. I smacked her as she straightened her clothes back up, and she gave me a smile over her shoulder as she unlocked the door and exited my office. I would have to really think about this plan. I was not going to get a second chance at it. I knew that I would have to call in a few favors to get it done. That witch knew I would be coming back for Kara. She read my mind. She knew that I was not going to give up. I was a little concerned that she saw what we had done when she read my mind. I don't know if she was going to turn us in for murder or not, but I needed to be able to work around that, too. We have gone too far just to let it go. I had a perfectly good beta killed to get his daughters assigned to my men and to have Kara as my own. I need to focus and ensure my plan has no holes in it. We can't keep going back to try to take her. Plus, Now that her sisters had found their true mates, I was sure that my ranked wolves would not be willing to stick their necks out to help me get her back. My cell phone started ringing, and I rejected the call. It was just Lisa. She was only calling to go off about me letting off some steam with the Omega. After the fifth call, she clued in that I was not going to answer her. She got what she wanted, the position of Luna. I owe her no loyalty. I started making up a list of what I needed to do. The first thing was to have Rex go into town and ensure that all the evidence connecting us to the accident was destroyed. That means the car needed to be crushed if it hadn't been already. We can't have anyone finding out what we have done. I mind-linked Rex to go into town and get that taken care of. Since he was the one who actually carried it out, I am sure he will be more than happy to make sure it gets done. I picked up the phone and started making calls to my beta-born friends. Clay can't stay here, not with Kara coming back. I need to get everything ready before Kara comes back to me. I will let nothing, and no one, get in my way of making that happen. Alexei's POV: I got my work done as quickly as possible, considering it was quite a few days worth of it. The problem was that I also had 3 meetings to deal with today. The paperwork had built up, and there was no more putting it off. I need to get this last meeting done, and I can leave for the day. I didn't need dinner, I just drank a bag from my fridge. I was itching to go now but had to wait for my day to be complete. Anyone in the coven can request a meeting, the only stipulation being that it must be related to the coven. Pointing out problems or issues that were going on to try to head off any altercations. The problem with the last meeting is who it is with. Jana was a human who had been turned into a vampire. She has been a vampire for 8 years but has lived here for the last 3 years. She came in from the group we helped to break up. The leaders had been killed by us as they were chasing the witch who now lived at Blackadder. The ones who we could rescue were brought here for another chance to live out their lives safely. We also saved Anika, who was also a human and was turned 18 years ago. Both women shared a home and basically stayed to themselves. Jana comes to me once a month to flirt and make another offer to be my mate. She has done so since the 2nd month after she arrived. She won't accept the fact that I am not interested in her. She always ignores my refusal. She winks and comes back the next month to offer herself up again. I know why she does it. She wants to run the coven with me. Her behavior makes her less welcome than the rest of the coven members. She is lazy and does not want to help the coven at all. She balks at running the perimeter at night for security. She is still a fledgling, and she cannot take the direct sunlight at all. She has to work while it is dark, so she is limited in what she can do. She wanted to be on my special team, as we never replaced Kira when she became mated to Blake. If needed, Kira will still come out and help us. Jana has no special talents or abilities that we have seen. She wants to boss others around. She feels that being my mate would be the best way to live here. I am sure it would be, but I don't want to be associated with her in any way. I do a great deal of work for my coven. Jana is not the first to have thought of this idea. I have existed for a long time and am not fooled by the thinly veiled attempts anymore. I did fall for it when I was younger, but I have a lot of experience in it now. I am sure that Karen knows that I am not a virgin. I have lived for almost 5 centuries. I just stopped aging at 30. I have never had any doubts about my appearance before. Most girls approach me first. I still train quite a lot, and I am in peak condition. Kara is just not like anyone that I have ever met before. She doesn't go by appearance. She needs to feel loved and wanted. Her former pack did a number on her, and I doubt that I will ever know everything that happened to her while she was there. I know what she wants, and I am happy to give her what she needs. I already love her, and I very definitely want her. I just have to convince her of that. I understand why her heart is guarded, but I hope that in time, she will learn to trust me. I want her to accept me, too, even the fact that I am a vampire. I smiled, thinking about Kara. I can't wait to go and see her. My meeting with Ivan and Dmitri went well. It was my first meeting of the day. There were no pressing matters or requests from anyone who needed us. Which means that I have more time to spend with Kara. I also had a meeting with Stefan, our IT expert. He has been a vampire for over 50 years and is very knowledgeable. He takes college classes every 5 years to stay viable in his field and enjoys his work. I heard the knock on my door and mentally prepared myself for this meeting with Jana. I don't want to have to deal with her. The good news is that the meeting will be over once she gets off track and it becomes personal. I called out, "Enter," and she immediately came into my office. Yet again, dressed provocatively to try to gain my interest. The short skirt and the top 2 buttons are undone to allow her cleavage to show. It has never piqued my interest and will not work this time either. I went directly into business mode. Have a seat. What did you want to tell me? Have you noticed anything suspicious on patrol? I asked her. Well, hello to you too, Jana said with a smile. Jana, this is not a visit between friends. You set an appointment to discuss the coven's business. You know where I stand with you. I am not, nor will I ever be, interested in you. Please state why you are here. I have somewhere else I need to be, I replied. I was glad to see her smile disappear, but she didn't leave. She just settled back into her chair and looked at me thoughtfully. I heard a rumor, she began. I am not here for gossip. Have you got any information or issues found while on patrol? I asked her. No, it has been quiet for the last month. I am sure that no one wants to enter a vampire coven for fun. No trespassers or issues, but I heard you believe you have found your mate. Anyone I know? She asked with a smirk. No one that you know. I want to stress this to you as you have refused to accept the rejection that I have given you on multiple occasions. I am not interested in anything that you have to offer me. I have never been interested in you, and this little monthly appointment is ending. This is the last time you will waste my time with your attempts at flirting with me. I have found my mate, and I fully intend on marrying her. From now on, if you have something you need to request a meeting for, go to Dmitri or Ivan to advise them. I am now off limits to you. I won't have you making my mate feel upset at your refusal to accept my rejection of the offer you keep making, I told her. I watched as shock, sadness, and then anger crossed her face. I wasn't going to be polite anymore. She could not take a hint and truly thought she could force me to accept her. She couldn't. She finally spoke. I was told when you rescued me that you were here for all of us, that we could come to you as needed to speak. Has that changed? It has for you. You have never come to me to advise of an issue. Every month, like clockwork, you show up to try to flirt or offer yourself to me in your appointment. That is not what these appointments are for. They are specifically set up to make sure that our coven is safe. That my people are safe. No one else wastes my time like you do. I have been more than kind in turning you down, but things have changed now. I have found my mate. I will not lose her due to your immature acts. We both know you want to rule by my side, but you have no idea at all how to do that. This will be our last meeting, Jana. Please leave, I told her as I stood up. I needed to go and see Kara before Jana made me lose my temper. You won't speak to me any other time. I had to start setting appointments. You see me and go the other way. How am I supposed to get any time with you if you are doing that? It isn't fair. I am attractive and could be a good leader to your people. Jana refused to stand and immediately started arguing with me about it. No, you would not be a good leader. You only care about yourself. You do not take instructions or corrections well. You do not like to listen to others. You are the youngest vampire here. You are still a fledgling and have very little empathy for others. You are still very immature in your interactions with others. Those are just a few of the reasons why I have never looked twice at you. I am not just not interested in you. Do not make another appointment with me. If I see one on the schedule, I will cancel it. Do not push me, Jana. I allowed you and your friend Anika to live here with us for the last 3 years to provide you two with a safe environment. Not for you to continue to hit on me. I have never encouraged you. I only tried to help you both as much as I could. I will see about transferring you to another coven if I need to, I told her coldly. I cannot afford to be polite anymore. Jana takes any kindness and thinks I harbor affection for her, but that is untrue. I already know that I will have to transfer her. I can see from her expression now that she will not stop. The only thing I can do is keep her away from Kara until I find her another coven to live in. You would kick me out for some harmless flirting? Seriously? You promised us that we would be safe here, now, you are ready to toss us aside. How can any of us trust you? How can we trust your mate not to want to get rid of us, too? I will go. You don't have to kick me out. I know when I am not wanted, Jana's voice rose as she spoke. She exited my office, slamming my door shut as she left. She was really upset. I don't think it is because I threatened to send her away. I think she is trying to give Kara a hard time before she can even be introduced to the coven. I won't allow that. I will start looking for a place for Jana and Anika to go first thing in the morning. I will not allow either of them to cause Kara any pain. She has been through enough, and I know that my team will welcome her with open arms. They are just as happy for me at finding my mate as I am. It gave them hope of finding their own mates one day. I won't allow one petty girl to hurt Kara. I called Dmitri to put someone on her. If she goes after my mate, I will deal with her myself. Jackson's POV. It has been a week since I found my mate. I don't know how I have made it this far without her. I crave her all the time. Her touch and scent calm me in a way that I have never known before. When she is away from me, I look forward to getting to see her again. Today, I will be finishing my work earlier than usual. I want to go with Brenna to watch her sister train. Brenna and Luna had been going to help her, but Luna had left with Kevin 3 days ago. This was the first time that the sisters had been separated, and I knew it was hard for all 3 of them. Probably more so for Luna, as she was alone at Black Moon. The good news for her was that she and Casey had hit it off. Casey was Kevin's younger sister, and they had met here in Blackadder. They were both 20 years old, and Casey had gone back with them to help introduce Luna around the pack. I think having Casey go with her helped ease some of the pain she felt at leaving. It was hard to see as they were all crying as Kevin and his men left. Casey took her own car so she could come back when she felt that Luna was doing well in her new pack. The only good thing about it was that Zayers had pointed out that Kara and Brenna could go there at a moment's notice by teleporting. They hadn't even considered that before. It did help them to realize that they were not so far apart. It was about an hour's drive time away from us. Once Paxton's threat was behind us, then they could travel back and forth to see each other. I watched my wife's sleeping face and thanked the goddess again for giving her to me. I couldn't imagine a more perfect mate for me. Brenna was everything I could ever want in a mate. She is smart, beautiful, kind, strong, and an excellent fighter. She was quickly getting the Omegas into shape, with just 2 classes so far. I had not realized that they were not training as they had before. At the time, everyone ensured there were no weak links in the pack. The threat of war was real, as the goddess herself had given the warning to us. My parents wasted no time ensuring our pack could withstand an attack. I have trained since I was old enough to understand instructions on what to do. They took it seriously as we knew a war was coming. We had no other information than that, and we were more than prepared for it when it arrived. We lost 9 pack warriors in it, but we had killed everyone who came to fight us. I thought that everyone was still training. Maybe not daily like we used to, but at least 3 times a week. That way, they would keep up their strength and technique. I thought wrong. After speaking with my father that night, I found that 4 years ago, the Omegas had requested to stop training so they could keep up with their regular work. We had the new pack house up and running with a second large kitchen to run. It made sense as our pack has grown and flourished. We have a large number of warriors, and other packs knew to leave us alone. It helps that we have treaties with several packs, some who are family, and some who we considered to be family. Like with Kevin, his mother is Cheryl, and she lives here, as does his brother Robert. Kevin's cousin, Trevor, is the alpha for Blood Tracker and is considered family. Trevor's mother, Reagan, splits her time between Blood Tracker and Blackadder, as she is my aunt. My mother's twin. My mother, Raven, comes from the Blood Walker pack. Her brother, Carter, was the former alpha, and his son, Lucas, was the current alpha. I am excited to introduce my extended family to my mate. Things have gone very smoothly, with the exception of the incident with Corey and Lena last week. Since then, Brenna has set a schedule for the Omegas and included Lena. They train on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Brenna knows that the weekends are the busiest in terms of workload, and she allows the Omegas to pick the 2 days that they will train. The 4 girls in question, Corey, Lena, Anna, and Sandra, must go all 3 days a week until it is time for the fight. I know they are going to try to get out of it. Each one of them has come to me separately and apologized. Then asked to get a pass on the fight. I told them that they would have to get Brenna and Lena to agree not to fight. That stopped them in their tracks, as they didn't want to ask them to let them out of it. I was so lost in thought that I didn't realize that Brenna was awake. She was watching me with a small smile on her face. She realized that I was getting upset at how she had been disrespected, so she wanted to calm me down. Brenna placed her hand on my chest above my heart to get my attention. I leaned over to kiss her, as that was my favorite way to wake up in the morning. She held me closer as I intensified the kiss. I will never get tired of waking up like this. We headed into the bathroom to take our shower together. It was something we swiftly realized was our favorite morning habit. I stepped in, and as soon as Brenna joined me, I lifted her up and slid her back down my body, lowering her onto my shaft. Brenna gave a low moan as I slowly lowered her down until she had taken all of me. She wrapped her arms around my neck and gave me a deep kiss as I slowly started raising and lowering her. She took over from me after she broke the kiss. She used her legs wrapped around me to start moving herself. She wanted me to go faster, and when I wouldn't, she took matters into her own hands. Her legs tightened around me as she leaned her head back and continued to work me faster with her arms wrapped around my neck. I kissed the top of her head and told her, "I love you, Brenna." She looked up at me and pulled my head down to connect our lips again, and after breaking off the kiss, she replied, "I love you too, Jackson." We stood together under the spray for a little while before showering. I knew she would go out and run the adult course today when I went to work. She had been impressed with it from the moment she first saw it. She kept trying to beat her own time. She had sized it up before she had even run it. She had thought everything through before she even arrived at the start of the course. I hadn't thought I could be more proud of her, but I was. She never hesitated as she started the course. Most would look at the next obstacle before attempting it, but not my mate. It was like she had done this a dozen times before. We have added new features to it. Angled boards and stumps to jump on to cross another water feature. There is also a double set of monkey bars as many compete with each other to get the best time. Some of the warriors do a few pull ups on the last bar. It's just to show their strength, especially if they lead the race. I plan on being done by lunch. I want to go and see Kara's training myself. I am glad that she is learning quickly, I told her as we dressed for the day. Brenna kept me updated on what Kara was learning. I knew Alexei wanted to see her train too, but he hesitated to ask. He only came over at night to visit for an hour before leaving. I had heard that Kara was missing him and considered that a good sign. Maybe I will call him and see if he wants to come and watch her in action. He had mentioned that he was having an issue with one of his coven members. I knew who it was, and I also had an issue with her. She has been coming onto my pack land and messing around with some of my warriors. I didn't like it and was going to put a stop to it now that Chase had advised me of the issue. There was an incident last night. It would be different if they were mates, but it was 3 different guys. They were starting to fight over her. I couldn't allow that to keep going on. Only a select few coven members were officially allowed to come onto my land, the 7 members of his team. Anton has already officially lived here with his family. The 7 authorized members were Alexei, Ivan, Dmitry, Adrik, Irina, Polina, and Nadia. Even knowing that this woman had intentionally trespassed onto our land and caused issues between my men, we headed for breakfast together. After breakfast, we would separate. I would go to my office, and Brenna would train on her own. She has her own regimen that she follows. One that her father taught her and one that I believe she will not show the Omegas when she trains them. That is what they deserve for the lies they tried to spread. I straightened that out at the town hall. I let them know that there was no room for discussion. Brenna was my mate. If anyone has a problem with it, they can leave Blackadder. As anticipated, no one took issue with it after that. I can't wait for her Luna ceremony next week. We are having 2 full moons in a row, and Luna will have her ceremony the following night. My mother has spent a lot of time with Brenna, getting her thoughts on how to decorate for it, but Brenna and my mother's tastes are similar. It makes sense, as they are both tomboys. I was not letting Brenna leave the pack just yet. I still need to deal with Paxton. I know he has not given up. He is still a threat. Mom is going to go pick up Brenna's dress for her. Casey was doing the same thing for Luna. I can't wait until Brenna is officially my Luna. The gloves come off once she is. The penalties will greatly increase at that time. I am willing to kick Corey and Lena out of my pack if they try to come after her or her sisters again. I will not be playing with them. They either take a hint or leave Blackadder forever. Kara's POV Alexei is nervous. I can tell he is, even if he hasn't said anything to me. He has even been distancing himself from me for some reason. I spoke with my mother, and she assured me that he still feels the same way about me. She knows what is happening but hasn't told me what it is. She just told me to keep training and only focus on that. I don't know what is going on right now, but I have felt someone watching me for the last few days. I could feel their eyes boring into me, and I already knew this feeling. I have felt it hundreds of times before, at my old pack. I had to be sensitive. I had learned the hard way to listen to my gut. It has saved me more times than I care to admit. The only exception was Lisa and her goon squad. Sometimes, the direction I ran to get away led me right to her or her friends. I wish someone would tell me what was happening. It was making me nervous. Either my mother or Alexei was going to have to tell me. They both knew but stayed quiet about it. I have learned a lot in the last week. My mother has been pushing me to learn all that I can. In the last 3 days, she has upped my training. I now train for at least 4 hours a day with her. I can throw up a protection spell in the blink of an eye. I can make much larger fireballs and ice arrows to throw. I have nailed down teleportation. I even went to see Luna at the Black Moon Pack by myself, using her as my beacon. She was just as proud of me as Brenna was. I was happy with my progression as well, but I hated being kept in the dark. I also trained one-on-one with Brenna in the mornings. She wanted me to learn some defensive moves. I was never allowed to train at Kamaria because I was not a wolf. The former alpha, Hugo, had said that I had to wait until I shifted before I could train. A lot of them acted like I was a spy sent there to try to get information on the pack. They also said I would get hurt, but I am tougher than they realize. My mother didn't want me to train with Brenna at first, but she agrees with her now. She said, all knowledge is beneficial, when I asked why she changed her mind. Most of what Brenna is teaching me is how to get out of a hold. I learned the thumb is the weakest point of the hand and how to get out of someone's grip. I already suspect what is going on. Lisa taught me a lot over the years as well. I have to assume that the girl who likes Alexei has learned that he believes that we are mates. I believe that he is right about it. I always feel safest around him. The pull I feel towards him is much greater these days. He makes me happy. I was going to speak to my mother about what would happen if I did decide to allow him to turn me. There are a lot of questions involved with it. Would I lose being able to speak telepathically with my mother? Would I lose my magical powers? I didn't want to enter it without more information. I needed to know what might happen if I decided to fully accept Alexei's offer. I have spoken about it with my mother. She was not against it. She just wants me to go slow. She told me again that he loved me. That he wants to take care of me. But I still wanted to see that for myself. I will only have myself to blame if I make the wrong choice here. I would have to live hundreds of years with Alexei before my life ends. I don't want to live that whole time with reassurance. I want to know it in my heart before I can make such a leap of faith. I was heading from our house to the pack house to meet Brenna for breakfast before training. My mother had forgotten something at our home and returned to get it. I am not a child. I can walk on my own. The sun had not risen yet, but I could see perfectly well in the woods. I heard her before I saw her. She came at me fast, but I had a dome around me before she could reach me. She fell back from me in surprise after hitting the dome before slowly getting up from the ground. She was extremely thin, and her skin was very white. Her yellow eyes glowed at me in her anger. She was angry at me, and I had never seen her before. But I suspected who she was. So he fell in love with a witch. Makes sense, you wouldn't be a vampire. He would want someone special, just like his brother did. What does he even see in you? Sure, you're pretty, but so am I. So, what is it about you that interests him so much? I have been watching you for days after he shot me down this last time. I had to come onto the pack land to start asking around. It took me too long to figure out what was happening with him. I finally followed him to your home after he thought he lost me. No wonder I couldn't find a way to get to you. Your home is spelled. Don't you worry your pretty little head about it. I will catch you, and I will take pleasure in draining you. See if you can survive that, Peesh. I will never allow you to take Alexei away from me, she spat at me. He came to me, so I didn't take him away from you. You never had him, so don't act like I took your boyfriend away. You don't have to act like this. Just set your sights on someone else. Alexei is my mate. I was created for him. A higher power has decided that we belong together. It is out of your hands. Leave me alone. I won't warn you again. I will be sure to tell Alexei about this when I see him tonight, I replied. My heart was beating fast, but my tone remained calm. Like I believed every word I told her. It didn't go over well. She shrieked angrily and extended her claws to strike at my protective shield. Going all the way around me, slashing over and over again until she tired herself out. She was angry and frustrated now. I could tell that she would not be letting this go. Go ahead and tell him. You have no proof, he can't kick me out of the coven without proof. I will never let you go, Kara. I will make sure that you suffer before you die. I promise you that I will be the last thing that you see before you draw your last breath. I won't let you get away with undermining what I have spent 3 long years building. Be seeing you, she mockingly told me before taking off. She was fast, really fast. I watched her until she was completely gone from my eyesight before I lowered my dome. This isn't good at all. My mother suddenly appeared next to me, and I screamed out in fear. She put her arm around me and said, I was here with you, Kara. You were never alone. I needed it to look that way to draw her out. She has been watching you for days. Do not worry. I know exactly what we need to learn today. I believe we will need all 4 hours of practice to cover it. I wanted to kill her myself, but I think it would be better for you to do it. She is not a strong vampire. She is a young one, I can tell. I will speak to Jackson about this. He will not be happy to hear it. The next thing I knew, we were at the entrance to Brenna's pack house. I hate to admit it, but the threat I had just received was scary. She wanted me dead, and she was going to make plans to get that done. Goddess, I have only been here 11 days, but things have not gone as smoothly here as I had hoped. I just wanted to live a nice, peaceful life with a partner who loved me. I didn't think that was too much to ask. My mother immediately headed for Jackson in the dining room as I headed toward Brenna. I was no longer as hungry as I had been. Her threat had actually terrified me. I watched as Jackson took out his cell phone, and I knew that he was calling Alexei. I didn't want that. I just wanted to go train. Learn whatever my mother wanted to teach me to be able to deal with that woman. I grabbed some eggs and bacon and headed for their table when I saw Alexei run into the dining room. His eyes flew all around the room before he came towards me. I was glad I set my plate down because he spun me around, looking for an injury on me. He was in a panic, and I could see real fear in his eyes. I am fine, Alexei. I would have preferred a heads up, as she told me that she has been watching me for days, but I am fine. I saw her coming and protected myself. She is a real piece of work. She made sure to tell me that I couldn't take you away from her, I told him. Did she say anything else? He asked. He was calm, but I was not falling for it. He was angry, very angry. She did. She said that she had tried to get into my house. But she also said that she was going to catch me, and she was going to drain me, I told him. My mother nodded at what I said and then said, hang on a moment, Alexei. She then touched his temple, and he was quiet for a few minutes with his eyes closed. He was even more upset when she was done. I assume that she allowed him to see her memories as she said she had been there the whole time. You left her alone? After knowing that Jana was watching her, he finally asked. I needed to see who was after my daughter. I also needed to know the threat level. I didn't like keeping a secret from my daughter. I knew you were trying to deal with the problem, but the problem is getting out of hand. We all needed to be on the same page, and now we are, my mother replied. I dealt with her, even without the heads up. Please tell me if I have anyone else gunning for me. I know you two were trying to protect me, but this was something that I needed to know about. What if she didn't run straight for me? What if she was much closer? I know you were there now, Mom, but I would have appreciated the heads up, especially since my life is on the line. She wasn't joking around. She wants me dead, I told them. Alexei's POV. I want to kill Jana with my bare hands. How dare she stalk Kara? I have been keeping my distance to protect Kara. Only to find out this morning that it had been a complete waste of time. She came here to seduce some warriors to get information. Gossip is one of the fastest moving things in a wolf pack. Of course, people talked. I told Ivan and Dmitri to get a trusted tracker on Jana. I wanted to know where she was at all times. I also asked Dmitri to increase the calls to covens in other states. Jana needed to find a new home. I also need to speak to Anika as well. I need to know if they both need to be transferred or if it is just Jana who poses a threat. My heart was racing as I ran from my coven to the pack house. Jana wasn't particularly strong, but she was still stronger than Kara was, or so I thought. Watching Kara immediately swing into action to protect herself was exciting to see. Jana won't be giving her any extra time to prepare for her attack when she comes at her again. Kara was right, we should have told her that she was being watched. I thought by having Polina shadow Jana, I was keeping Kara safe. Jana was a fledgling and could not be exposed to direct sunlight. The sun was coming up when she confronted Kara in the woods. I am sure that Jana knew she was being followed and backtracked on Polina. She had to have, as Polina had messaged Dmitri and me that Jana had returned to the coven. That was before the attack. Nobody suspected that she would dare be out there so close to the sunrise. Jackson just told me what Jana was doing in his pack. As adults, most of the unmated can get together. But not usually all in the same week. Jana had caused a huge issue in doing what she had in trying to fish for information. Jackson was angry as he had just found out that one of his patrols ended up in a fist fight last night. Apparently, they had all just discovered that they were all seeing Jana. If she were doing this to get me jealous, it would not work out for her. I don't care who she sleeps with. However, problems with the patrols would cause a big problem for the pack, especially since they were still looking for Paxton to return. It wasn't just because she was not supposed to be inside the pack. Her causing a fallout between the warriors caused that particular patrol to have to be split up. Those patrols have worked together for the last few years. They have learned to trust each other. Now, 2 warriors would have to go to the grave shift. The other 2 from the 3-man patrol must learn to work with a new member. That is going to throw these 3 patrols off for at least a month until they learn to trust each other. The biggest issue is that it causes problems between Jackson and myself. We cannot allow that to happen. I will not allow her to hurt you, Kara. I am trying to find another coven for her to live in. I will ensure you always have an escort until Jana is gone, I told Kara. I wanted to make things right, but Jana's actions tied my hands. She has to be sent away, and quickly. I will take care of Kara. You just deal with the problem on your end. Just know that if Jana goes too far, I will not hesitate to end her. I will accept the full blame for it, as I do not want it to fall on Kara or Jackson. That young woman has broken several rules in what she has done in coming here. But she crossed the biggest line by threatening my daughter. I won't allow her to hurt Kara. It won't work just to warn her. She thinks that she is safe, and I promise you that she will not heed your warning. Just know that if she comes at Kara again, I will take matters into my own hands, Sayers replied. She was mad, and I can totally understand why. What Jana did went too far. I think that Jana is starting to believe her own delusions. Getting rid of Kara will not get her the position she wants. I would put her in the cells and punish her daily until I got over the loss of my mate. That will never happen, so I would have to be content with torturing her daily for the next 300 years. If it comes to that, you have my permission to deal with her as you see fit. I have been making calls this week, but no one wants her. She has no special gifts and is still a fledgling. When I found her, she was a feral vampire, and most covens do not want to accept ferals. She is no prize, and no one wants her. I tried to help her, and this is what she did to repay me. Janet tried to kill Kara. I will not stand in your way on this. I had been trying to prevent her from finding out about Kara. I suspect that is why she was seducing the warriors. She was trying to find out who I was interested in, I replied. I am not heartless, but Jana has caused my coven a great deal of problems over the years. She has abused my kindness for the last time. It is time for her to move on. If no one will take her, I will give her some money and send her away. I can't take the risk of her staying here any longer. I am going to make those calls. Are you going to go train with Brenna this morning? I asked Kara. Yes, she is still working with me on defensive moves, Kara replied. Jackson, can you assign someone to stay with Kara during the day? My team and I can stand some sunlight, but we can only be in it for a few hours. Kara, I would like to come and watch you train this afternoon. I will return here after lunch to go with you. I would like to see how far you have come, if that is okay, I asked her. Kara smiled at me and nodded. Robert will be with them. He volunteered to escort them, and he is strong. It helps me rest easier just in case Paxton returns, Jackson replied. I knew he understood my concerns, and I trusted Robert. I trusted all the ranked members of the pack. Sayers, can I speak with you for a moment? I asked her. Do not worry, Alexei. I will stay with Kara. I will keep her safe, Sayers told me as we stepped about 20 feet away. Thank you, I knew you would. You are safer during the day, as the sun will burn her. I wanted to ask you how hard it would be to add a third room to your home. I will not be able to rest without knowing that Kara is safe. Jana is not going to stop until one of us makes her. I will make sure that she is gone by the end of the week, but I want to stay as close to Kara as possible. I believe it will also help our bond to grow, I told her. I can do that. I will add a room next to Kara's for you. I know you love her, Alexei. She will know it for herself very soon. She is scared that what happened to me will happen to her, too. She has been rejected by so many. She struggles to know her true worth. She just wants to be loved and wanted but doesn't feel worthy of it after what she went through at Kamaria. I don't think that she looks at you differently because you are a vampire. Keep showing her how much she means to you, you will earn her heart. I support you as her mate, Alexei. I will make sure to make both of your rooms soundproof. I support you both, but I don't need to know when things change in your relationship, Sayers told me with a small smile. I don't know how to reply to that other than thank you for letting me be there to protect her. I will bring a bag when I come this afternoon. Jana knows that she has gone too far with her attack this morning. She won't give you a heads up on her next attack like she did this morning. She will just attack. I want you to all be safe, I told her. I walked over to hug Kara and kissed her on the top of her head. That is the only affection I have been giving her this whole time. It is an innocent exchange, but I love doing it. I get to breathe in her scent and show her that I care for her without pushing her too hard. I know that will only make her resist our bond more. She hugged me back tighter than usual and said, "See you in a few hours." Her smile was brighter than it normally was. She missed seeing me as often as she had been. I had to hold back my elation at realizing that she missed me, and that was a great deal of progress. I hurried back to my coven. I needed to get a few things done and make those calls. I needed Jana out of here tonight if I could find her a spot. I spoke to Dmitri about what I needed to do. I hated using my team for personal reasons, but Jana has forced my hand. You are making the right decision, boss, to involve the team. Jana can't be trusted. I don't trust Anika very much, either. They have always stayed to themselves and never tried to be a true part of our coven. We need to speak to the witch they were chasing. She is terrified of them. There has to be a reason for that. From what I have been told, she doesn't even leave her home. We need to look into that because I have a gut feeling we missed something when we allowed them to come back here. I think this will be excellent practice for the team, Dmitri told me. He was right. We haven't had to go out for over 6 months now. Things were quiet, but we never needed to lower our guard. Let Nadia track Jana tonight. She can hold Jana in place with her powers if she needs to. If Jana gets within 100 feet of Kara's home, tell her to hold her for me. I will not allow her to hurt Kara or anyone she cares about. Tell Nadia to just follow Jana and note where she goes. I need to know what she is up to, I told him. I almost hoped she would show up tonight. I will end her, then interview Anika tomorrow to see if she is involved. I am done with Jana's games. I allowed her too much leniency over the years. I felt bad for what they went through and never looked deeper into them. Dmitri was right, they have stayed to themselves for the last 3 years. I was just so glad that Jana was leaving me alone to delve into the reason why she had. It might be time to make an unexpected house call. Lena's POV. I have been trying to figure out a way out of the fight for a week. Jackson was no help to us at all. He supported his stupid mate. I hate her so much. She just slid in here and took him for herself. She didn't deserve him. Corey, Anna, and Sandra agreed with me. They were all annoyed off about her running us ragged. 3 trainings a week when all we had to do before was 1. My dad is even impressed with her skills. That was the last straw. I need her and her witch sister to get out of here. I didn't really care about the witch, other than her interfering. That was what caused us to get into trouble. If she had kept her mouth shut, we wouldn't have been in this predicament in the first place. This morning, it had fallen into my lap. I overheard that one of Alexei's people was after the witch. Good, I can work with that. I had her name and realized that my brother, Philip, had mentioned her to us. Just last week when he had met us for dinner. I just needed to catch up with him, and I knew the rest would fall into place. He had to get some sleep because he and his patrol team got into an altercation last night. Dad was mad about it as it reflected badly on him, and I had embarrassed him recently. He was really mad at Philip at the moment. Mom had to calm him down and keep him from going over to Philip's apartment and yell at him. He finally calmed down when Mom pointed out that it would be even more embarrassing to the family if he did that. To just let it alone, and everyone would forget about it by next week. He was now going to be on swing shift. He would be up later this afternoon. I will try to catch him before his shift. If not, I can always mind link him. I hope his anger at Jackson demoting him back down to basic warrior because of the fight, will make him help me. My brother loved the night shift, and he was a lead warrior, at least he was before the altercation. Being taken off of the grave shift had annoyed him off. I believe that with Jana's help, we can get rid of both women. That leaves me free to get Jackson to see me as a good choice for a chosen mate. Leaving Jana to take Alexei back. It is a win-slash-win for us both. My brother probably wouldn't be happy about it, but she can always see him on the side. I would not mention the part about Jana getting Alexei back to Philip. He would be less likely to assist me in this. Philip doesn't want her for his mate. He was having a good time with her and a few she-wolves in the pack. I know that was one of the reasons he liked working the grave shift. It kept our parents out of his hair with what he was doing. They would hook up during his shift. I realized that she probably went after him to get information about Kara. Only the nurses knew anything about them, and one of Philip's hookups works for the hospital. Rumors had flown through the pack after they arrived. We knew one was hurt, and the other two were mated to alphas. I needed to know what pack they came from. It was well known another alpha and his ranked men had chased them here. I just needed to find out his name or the pack's name. I knew he wanted them back and could do the heavy lifting for me. I just needed to be able to get them out of here. I am sure he will not let them go once he gets his hands on them. But no one would tell me anything. It was like they knew why I was asking, and no one would discuss anything about them with me. I was trying to do them a favor here. This uppity peesh was making my life a living hell, and no one was trying to stop her. Even my own father was happy that I was being forced to learn how to fight. Why did I need to learn? We were safe now. Only a fool would attack us. Then, as if the goddess was with me, everything fell into place by accident at breakfast. I had been sitting on the other side of one of the walls in the dining room. I had been sitting right behind them to try to get information. Several 6-foot-high angled walls separated the dining room. They were shaped at a 90-degree angle in a couple of areas. They had built them last year to break up the dining room, and to try to make it look nicer. Bench seats were built onto either side of the wall, helping to anchor them. The tables were placed in front of the benches with chairs on the opposite sides to make sure there was plenty of seating. I overheard everything, and now I finally had a name for the Alpha that wanted them back. Now, all I needed to do was to check and see which pack he ran and see what he would offer me to get them back. I took off after getting what I needed. I couldn't be found in there. I would never be able to deny that I heard what was said. I wanted Jackson to turn to me for comfort when his heart was broken. Once I get rid of them, I am sure that no one will miss them for long. I just needed some help, and I am sure that the vampire would gladly help me. I am not strong enough alone to get them to and over the wall. I just have to get my brother to set up a meeting between us tonight. But first, I need to contact Alpha Paxton to ensure I have a partner in this. The plan will never work if I can't get him to come here and take them away. It won't matter if they know he was involved. Someone will have to prove he has them, and I am sure no one will be willing to admit that. I just have to make sure that they never find out I was involved. Getting rid of Luna was a death sentence. I got in my car and headed to the gate. I needed to leave the pack to make sure that I was not overheard making these plans. I would never allow someone else to slip in and take Jackson away again. No. That was not going to happen. When I checked for him in the directory, I found his name and called the Kamaria pack. This was it, and my heart was beating out of my chest as the phone rang. The man who answered asked who I needed to speak to, and I almost told him off. Who else did people want to speak to when they called their pack? I am sure the Alpha was busy, but I asked for Paxton confidently. I was sure he would want to speak to me. What is your name? Can you tell me what the call is regarding? He asked me. My name is Lena. You can tell him that the call concerns Kara and Brenna Sims, I told him. There was a brief pause, and then another man picked up the call. What about Kara and Brenna Sims? The man asked. His voice was deeper than the first person who answered, and his aura was also strong, even through the phone. I was just calling to see if you were still interested in returning them to your pack. I replied. What about Luna? He quickly asked. I can't help you with her. She is in another pack, but I can tell you which one for a price, I told him. And what price would that be? He asked slowly. I am sure he didn't trust me. I wouldn't if someone called me out of the blue like this. But I needed to know that he would come and get them out of my hair. I want you to come and take Kara and Brenna away from Blackadder. I want to ensure I am never revealed as having helped you get them back. But the most important part is that you never allow them to ever leave the Kamaria pack again. They have to stay with you for the rest of their lives, I told him. That is what I needed from him. I waited breathlessly for a response. You can't get Luna? He asked after about a minute passed. I don't know, but I doubt it. We could only try it at Brenna's Luna ceremony next week. Luna was coming here for it. But I am telling you that too many people will be here for the event. If we were to do this, we would have to have a strong plan. We would need a way to knock them out so no one would be alerted that anything was wrong. You would have to get them out of here quickly. Would you be able to do that? I asked him. I will give you my personal cell number to stay connected. Lena, how do I know I can trust you? How do I know that you aren't trying to lure me into a trap? He asked. We have the same goal, Paxton. You want them, and I want Jackson. I am sure you understand why I want them to be gone permanently. I will warn you, Kara has been training with her mother for the last week. I cannot tell you if she has learned anything or not. Her mother protects the training from the pack. No one knows what they are doing, but I heard that Kara was able to protect herself from a vampire attack this morning. She has to have some kind of skills to have been able to do that. So you need to be prepared for that as well. From what I overheard, it was just protection from the vampire, so it may be low-level defense. I can tell you that I plan to use the vampire to help me get them out of the pack. Will that be a problem for you? I asked him. There was a pregnant pause before he said, "No, as long as we don't have to deal with the vampire, there will be no problem. Give me 24 hours to try to come up with a plan. Make sure no one finds out that we are speaking. I promise you that if you cross me, Lena, if this is a trap, I will make sure you are sorry for doing it," he told me. I couldn't stop the gulp I had at hearing that. I am not trying to trap you. I just needed Kara and Brenna to go away and never return, I told him. That better be the case. I look forward to working with you, Lena, he told me before dropping the call. It is too late to go back on it now. I know that he would tell Jackson just to get me back. I just need to speak to Jana and make sure that she is willing to help me. I need to make absolutely sure that none of this comes back on me. I am sure that everything is going to be fine. Paxton's POV. I was just about to start a meeting with Clay and Rex when a call came in. I answered it on speakerphone after hearing what the call was about. Rex and Clay were still very interested in getting the sisters back here. If that was all it took to make them help me, then I was fine with attempting this on the night of the Luna ceremony. I was excited at the prospect of getting them back here. Lena didn't have to worry. Once they came back, there was no way I would let any of them leave here again. I started making notes of what I needed to do after the call. I texted her my number so she would have it. I believed her. She sounded nervous, she was scared, and she should be. If this is a trap, I will make sure that she dies for crossing me. I will not let her out of it. She is just as much a part of this as we are at this point I am in, as long as we can get all three of them, Clay said while I made notes. Me too. I don't think that we need to involve others in this. Just the three of us. I don't really want to work with vampires, but if that is what it takes to get Brenna back, I will be glad to endure it for the moment, Rex agreed. We need to get a plan together. We will only get one shot at this, so our plan needs to be good. I must ask her how she can trust a vampire in this. I know that the coven leader thinks that Kara is his mate. He is not going to just hand her over. A second problem is that Kara has been training with her mother. We do not know where she is with her training. She could be hard to handle, I told them. I doubt it, Paxton. Kara has been weak her whole life. I have never felt any powers coming from her. I doubt a week's training will make any real difference. I think that if we can get one of them out of there, the other two may come to save the one we took, Rex stated. Her mother is really strong. She could be an excellent teacher. I think that getting in touch with a dark witch and asking her to make up something to bind Kara's powers would be a good idea. We can't just be fighting them all the way back here. This needs to go smoothly. Get them knocked out, and come back here. Leave them alone until we are safely back at our pack, Clay responded. We all knew what he meant by that. This is going to be hard, but I guess if I can hold Kara, that will take the edge off. We need to build a place to hold them. We can't allow anyone else to see them again. We need to build a house, one with 3 master suites. We can assign a special Omega to cook for them and do their laundry. They would have a big room with everything they needed in it. We have to have a way to secure them. I will not allow them to escape again. We can lock them in the cells until the home is complete. I will assign special guards for them, but that is it. No one else needs to know that they are here, I announced to them. They looked stunned at the idea at first. Rex was the first to respond, that is why you are the alpha. That is an excellent idea. It keeps them safe from the other jealous she-wolves here. My only suggestion is to make the bedrooms soundproof. Other than that, it is a great idea. They can access a gym and each other. Maybe build a medical room to deliver our pups. Paxton, that is brilliant. We needed to get it designed and started as soon as possible. We won't be able to be with them until the house is built. The cells are disgusting. We could try locking them up in the beta house for the time being. That way, we could be with them before the house is built, Clay suggested. You are not to touch Brenna or Kara. I won't warn you again, Clay. They will not be locked up in your house. You still need to prove yourself to me. I can't fully trust you yet. I am willing to give you another chance because we have been friends for so long, but I don't even want you to think about Kara again. This is your last warning, we kept this between us, and no one else knows. Rex, when it gets closer to time, we will have your father run the pack while we are gone to get them. I will make sure to borrow the plane again. We will need to think of how to get them out of the pack and give us at least an hour's head start. The distance between Blackadder and the airport is about 45 minutes. Once we are in the air, it will be too late to stop us, I announced. We all stopped speaking as someone started hitting the door to my office. I could already scent her. I didn't want to see her, but she would not leave without coming in here. I nodded to the door for Rex to let her in. Lisa stomped into the office, looking around. Since she came back from her shopping trip, she has been annoyed at me. She is marked, so she feels it whenever I am with someone else. She used that opportunity to get a new purse. How such a bag can cost several $1,000s is beyond me. I need to speak to you, Paxton. Someone told me that you got a call from another woman today. If you think I am going to sit back and allow you to cheat on me, think again. I am your Luna. It is me or no one. You need to try harder to get me pregnant. Now that Kara is gone, you should give me a fair chance to get pregnant. You used to try harder, but now that I am marked, you have no interest in me at all, Lisa whined. First of all, stay out of my business. Second of all, I really never had an interest in you. Stop whining. You got what you wanted. You are Luna. Stop accusing me of cheating. My foot only slipped once after I marked you in all these years. You don't get to tell me what to do. I am the alpha, and what I say goes. So, if I assign someone else to bear my pups, you will accept it with a smile. You are Luna, and don't act like you wanted anything other than that. Don't forget, I know you well, Lisa. If you think I didn't know that you cheated while you were out of town, think again. But I don't have a problem with it. You will continue to act as my Luna, but that will be it. I will mark another, and you are free to be with whoever you want to, as long as you are discreet about it, I told her. I watched as the emotions crossed her face. She was about to lose control. I figured that she needed to be prepared for what was to come. I was absolutely serious about what I told her. I was done with her. I have no interest in her at all. If she can't accept what I just said, then I will use her as the bargaining chip for the Dark Witch. Only her mother would actually miss her. I watched as she was finally able to speak. Not a chance in the world, Paxton. There is no way that I am going to allow you to slap me in the face like that in front of our pack. I have bent over backward for you for years. I earned my position. I won't let you take it away from me, Lisa screamed at me. Rex and Clay both shifted in their seats as they knew that this would get ugly. I wasn't going to allow them to leave. I needed witnesses to what she was saying. You earned your position on your back, Lisa. You need to learn your place. Things are about to change around here, especially for you. You are not in charge. If you want to keep your official Luna title, you need to calm down and listen. Don't forget, my parents never liked you. My mother didn't want me to take a chosen, she wanted me to find my true mate. But there is only one woman that I have ever wanted. Once I get her back, you will leave her alone. If I find out that you were within 1,000 feet of her, I will deal with you myself. So you need to decide now what you are going to do, I told her. I watched as her chest heaved in anger while she considered what I had said. So you will allow me to stay the Luna here? I can have lovers, all I have to do is leave Kara alone. Is that right? Lisa asked in anger. Pretty much. You need to remember the part where I am going to mark her. But you will be the Luna of Kamaria for all intents and purposes. There is one more thing. You will leave our pups alone. You can't harm them either. That is non-negotiable for me. Are you able to do that? I am serious here, Lisa. I swear to you, if you can't, I will end you myself, I told her calmly. I need one more thing. I want one of my credit cards back. If I have to suffer through the humiliation of this. I feel like I have earned shopping trips to comfort myself, Paxton, Lisa replied with a smirk. You spend too much. That is why you lost your cards. I will give you one card, with a max of $5,000 a month. Take it or leave it, I told her. 5,000 is nothing, she protested quickly. If you stop buying for your friends, it is plenty. You already have a closet full of designer clothes. Most people in the pack do not have designer clothes. You do not need them. If you save up, you can still have your big trip once or twice a year. But I will not give you more than that. You have already spent almost $1 million just on you. That was all done in just the 3 years that you have been Luna. You need to learn to be more frugal, I answered her. This time I had the smirk on my face. I hate you, Paxton, Lisa told me. I will take that as a yes, then, Lisa. I am going to draw up a contract. You can sign it tomorrow. If you cannot follow it to the letter, don't get mad at me for what I do as punishment, I replied. She slammed the door as she left my office, but I felt lighter than I had in years. Things are finally going my way. Once Kara comes back, my life will be perfect. Lisa's POV. I wanted to tear Paxton apart, Rex, too. My worthless brother sat there listening to Paxton disrespect me and did nothing to defend me. He just accepted it like I deserved it. I have spent half my life placing myself in front of Paxton. Being there for him, supporting him, building him up. He was my first, and he should know that I am the only one truly qualified to be his mate. I was born Gamma, and in my opinion, no one would ever be better for him than I was. I have always known that he had a thing for Kara. I have known it for the last 10 years. The summer we turned 13, he made it obvious that he cared for her. He was so sweet to her. Most of the pack was accepting of her then. Even though we all knew she didn't belong here. I had to keep my opinions about her to myself. My friends agreed with my opinion of Kara and her sisters. We couldn't stand any of them. The males in the pack all adored her sisters for some reason. Only Paxton was stupid enough to be hung up on Kara. It was disgusting that he thought she was acceptable for anything. The fact that he was actually considering allowing her to carry his pups infuriated me. That was not going to be happening. I had finally gotten my wish, and they had left. That allowed Bridget and Tanya to tell Clay and Rex they liked them. I honestly thought that my dreams were about to come true. My friends would be the beta and gamma females. Our pack would become stronger than ever. But Clay and Rex laughed at the idea. They didn't mind sleeping with them but had told them both that they were not strong enough to become their mates. We had found out through the rumor mill that they had all gone to another pack to try to get them back. When they came back unsuccessful, we thought that was the end. Apparently, the pack they were hiding in was too powerful to be crossed. We thought that they had given up. How wrong we were! They had come back annoyed, off and injured. They have been plotting something since they returned. They have been in Paxton's office for over a week, staying to themselves. They won't tell us anything about what is going on. I am worried that Paxton has really lost his mind. It is like he is willing to consider waging war to get her back. That is completely unacceptable. He would be letting every other pack know that he was willing to wage war just to get that slut back. I will never allow that to happen. If he thinks I am signing anything, he better think twice. I need to make some plans of my own, as I know that with that call today, something big was about to happen. I went down to have lunch with my parents. They always ate early. They have breakfast at 5 every morning, and I hadn't eaten yet today. I need to know if they knew anything. I need to gain as much information as possible to ensure Paxton's plans to replace me failed. We finished our meal silently, as my mother didn't want us to speak while we ate. As soon as we were done, I knew I needed to strike quickly before my father left. Dad, did you ever get updated by Rex on where they went a week and a half ago? I asked him. No, I didn't. Every time I tried to ask, one of them would change the subject. Even when I asked how they got injured, they dismissed my questions. It was clear that they didn't want to discuss it, so I dropped the subject. It is not my business anymore, as Rex is now the Gamma, my father answered. That answers nothing, so I tried again. I am just so worried about them. They were all injured, and Paxton is really acting strangely. It is like he doesn't care for me anymore. I am worried that he has found someone else, I told him, eyes glossing over with unshed tears. I am his baby girl. This always works on him. Unfortunately, the tears don't work on my mother. She loves me but thinks I am not working hard enough to endear myself to Paxton. Honey, Paxton has made you his Luna. Your dreams have been achieved. But you are going to have to face facts. You have not been able to bear him a pup in 3 years. He has an obligation to the pack to create heirs. I am sorry if this causes you pain, but we can't do anything about that. He announced what he planned to do in front of the whole pack. All you can do is try each day to get pregnant. If not, he may move forward with what he said he would. He has given you every opportunity, Lisa. Focus on going to the doctor. Get his help to make you more fertile. If you want to keep Paxton, you need to produce his heir. Then no one will be able to take your position away from you, my mother told me. Here we go again with the lecture. Goddess, I am so sick of hearing this. It is like she wants me to have no fun at all. What is the point of being Luna if I can't do what I want to? I always thought that we would conceive naturally when the time came. My heart rate increases as I suddenly remember 5 years ago. Paxton was off doing some alpha training for 6 months. I slept with a warrior after Paxton left, and I ended up pregnant. I couldn't keep it. I would never be able to be Luna if I did. I had gone into a human city and disposed of the pup. I couldn't risk losing everything over a mistake. Not with a warrior, no matter how hot he was. I went with Bridget because you couldn't go alone in case of an emergency. She had kept her mouth shut about it because I had paid her never to mention it to anyone. She knew better than to cross me, but it was best I had something on her to make sure she kept quiet. There had been a complication during the abortion. I had only started to show when I caught it, but werewolf pregnancies were quicker than humans. So, my 2.5-month pregnancy was almost halfway complete. The fetus was much bigger than they anticipated when they did the procedure. I had lost a lot of blood, and there were other issues. The doctor told me to come back to get a checkup after a month had passed. He explained that day, but I was hurting and didn't listen to him. They were going to see if there would be any lasting problems from the procedure. I just never went back. I was just thankful that Paxton had never found out about it. I had put it behind me as it was a terrible experience. It was a horrible memory of when I almost ruined my future, and I just buried it at the back of my mind. I couldn't risk it coming out and accidentally mentioning what happened. Goddess, what if there really was a problem? I can't go to the pack doctor. He might be able to tell me what I did. Nothing stays a secret for long in a pack. Mom, I will try harder. You are right. I am going to go and check in with a fertility specialist to see what can be done. I should carry the pack's heir. Who would be more qualified than me to do it? I told her. Meanwhile, I was totally panicking. I needed to go into the city to deal with this, but who can I go to? I don't want anyone else to know why I am going there. I highly doubt that a doctor would be able to get me in today anyway. I calmed down and went to our room to make some calls. I had to look online for a good doctor. One that can help me conceive. I am even willing to try IVF if it comes down to it. Paxton would have probably done that with me in our first year together if I had only realized this sooner. Now that the specter of Kara returning is hanging over my shoulder, I don't think I have any hope. He doesn't want me to bear his children. He just told me as much. He is done with me, but I have only been his Lena for 3 years. I knew I should have gotten rid of her when I had the chance. Even with the threat of Brenna and Luna coming after me, I should have done it. I could have ensured that I had an alibi and had others do the dirty work for me. It would have been the smart thing to do. No matter what I did to her, no matter how disgusting she looked, Paxton still wanted her. He only accepted me as his Luna just to keep her safe. He knew he had no future with her, but she was fair game once she turned 18. I should have done it the moment we all knew she was wolfless. The moment Beta James took his support away would have been the perfect time. Brenna would have been too young to protect Kara alone, but it's too late now. If Paxton thinks that he can bring her back in here and everyone be okay with it, he really has lost his mind. I will not stand for her to worm her way back in here. I am the Luna. I don't care what Paxton wants. He marked me, he claimed me, and I will report him to the Werewolf Council if he tries to get rid of me. I will not let my reputation or rank be affected by him wanting that disgusting witch to bear his pups. I need to ensure that the warriors who listen to me are willing to help me with this. If he dares to bring her back, I will make sure that no one ever finds out what happened to her. She is not worthy to carry his pups. It is going to be me or no one. Once she is gone for good, he will snap out of whatever spell she has on him. I wish things were like they used to be, where a few well-placed words had Paxton and everyone else against her. Everyone was easier to control back then. Tanya and Bridget helped me spread the rumors. Now, it seems like Paxton hates me. I did everything for him, and this is how he tries to repay me. Think again, asshole. If I end up losing everything, he will, too. I will take him down with me. I found a good doctor and called. They made the appointment for Friday. They slipped me in 2 days from now. I cannot push down the sense of dread that I am now feeling. Even if something is wrong, I will never admit what I did. No matter what, I have to make sure that no one ever finds out. Even if Paxton doesn't love me, he could use what I did against me. I can't lose everything I worked so hard for over this. If something is wrong, I have to get rid of Kara. I can't allow Kara to live out my dream and have a good life if I can't have one myself. I won't allow that to happen. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.